Boann Distillery recently released 3 new whiskies.
And today we're going to compare them against each other to see if you can only buy one, which one should you buy? I'm Matt, I'm the whiskey nerd.
I'm Rose, I'm the whiskey noob.
And like we said, today we're going to compare 3 new whiskies from the Boann Distillery to see which one you should buy. Because when we review these, and if you want to see reviews of these whiskies individually, I'll put links down below so you can check them out.
Yeah.
We figured they were actually quite different.
Yes.
So we didn't want to do a blind test, so I've actually already poured out samples of these whiskies individually. So we didn't want to do a blind test because even just on the colour difference, you can see there's a lot of difference. So there's no point in trying to pretend as if it's blind. We'd be able to pick it out immediately. We're going to compare them just against each other, just straight up. Because these whiskies do come in, I think, at like €70, which we thought was fair enough as a price.
Yeah.
It's a new distillery. They have an interesting mash bill. They're using different fun casks. Comes in at 47% ABV as well. So it's a nice amount. But still €70, depending on who you are, it could be a lot of money.
Yeah, you might not be able to buy them all.
You might only be able to buy one bottle, even a month or more than a month. So we figured we'll put out this and see our recommendation of which one, if you're going to buy them, which one should you get, because they are quite different.
Yeah.
They are all, well, sorry, they're not all. So what it is it's a pot still whiskey from Ireland. These two here were aged initially in bourbon casks, and this one here was aged initially in an oloroso sherry cask. And then they were all finished in different casks. This one here was finished in a Marsala wine cask, which is from Sicily. It's a nice sweet wine.
Yeah.
This one here in, I think it's Spanish Madeira wine, another kind of sweet wine. And this one here was finished in a PX or Pedro Jimenez sherry cask. So they all give kind of different flavors. And even on the back, they say, this one's a beautiful pot still. This one's an elegant pot still. And this one's a decadent pot still.
So you really gotta think if you want decadent, elegant, or beautiful, you know?
And how true those descriptions are. I mean, also the bottles do look cool.
They're really cool bottles.
There's a lot of like really interesting details all around the bottle, really kind of cool. But again, it is about, if you're gonna put money into buying whiskey, which one should you buy?
Yeah.
And we're gonna compare them against each other. Before we just go into it, just give a quick, if you haven't seen the reviews of these, again, check them out if you want. But it is an interesting little whiskey. It's a pot still whiskey, style whiskey unique to Ireland, made with unmalted barley, malted barley, and they can use a few other grains in there as well to come up with an interesting mash bill. These here are mostly like 50-50, so it's most like 50% malted, 50% unmalted, but they did introduce a little bit of like their new mash bill, which it has a bit of, I think, oats, a bit of rye in it, so it has a bit of extra flavour, and over time, they're planning to kind of introduce more of that kind of new mash bill and less of the 50-50. So the flavours will evolve.
Yeah, and that means they'll be taking on feedback.
Yes, they did say that based on what people like, they will maybe, if people say they really like them the way they are, they'll keep that 50-50. If they think that the newer kind of like with that extra bit of corn, no, not corn, bit of rye and oat adds a bit of flavour, they'll add that in and kind of, just evolve over time.
Yeah, so maybe take your own little tasting notes as you sort of taste them. You might choose one of these and then taste the various iterations of them. Maybe you'll be able to get 2 or 3, but either way, you can have your own little journey with Boann here.
Yeah, because I think they're on their way to an age statement whiskey. They're only about like 4 years old from like their first cask, so they probably want to leave that for a bit. Yeah. So it'll be, I think, another maybe 5 years before we see something like a 7-year-old whiskey that they can release enough of it.
Yeah.
So I think these are going to be on shelves for a while, and they will be, like I said, evolving over those couple of years. Yeah. But that's not talking.
Let's taste them!
Let's taste it. We're going to go in. I'm going to go in for number 1 here, the single pot still. About 2.5 years-ish in bourbon, and then about a year and a bit in those Marsala wine casks.
Yes. Cheers. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Yeah.
That is...
You get the pot still spice immediately. Like it's that oily kind of character. It's very different than a lot of other whiskeys. Like it does... I would say it doesn't smell like a super old whiskey. It's about 3.5, 4 years old. It has that new character, but...
It smells like a warm press.
Yeah, but a new character doesn't mean a bad character.
Oh, no,
Yeah, it smells a little bit young.
Now I'm going to say something right now.
You're going to say something.
I just like the word oily when it comes to describing whiskeys. I like to describe it as thick.
She likes thick. With 2 C's or 3 C's?
It depends on the whiskey.
It depends on the whiskey.
But I don't want to drink something that someone's describing as oily.
Okay, it's a thick on the nose.
Yes.
It has that...
So for those oily people, it can still be oily to you, but for the non-oilies out there,
for the non-oily
it's a
people,
thick.
it's a thick.
It's a thick whiskey.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet. It's not super sweet on it, I will say. It's more And I'm not getting a huge amount of the bourbon. I'm not getting a huge amount of the Marsala. I'm getting more of like that core whiskey character. The nature of the spirit.
The sweetness is like if you've got like a sweet wine, you know, or something. Like you can tell that there's a difference between sweetness when it comes from like honey, fruit, wine influence, all the various influences, and you can tell this is not like I don't know, like apple or I don't know what, you know, but it's not a fruit. It's like you can tell that there was some real good cask influence there.
There's a bit of like citrusy, almost like a taste of their new make. It almost tastes a little bit like I was describing lemon drizzle cake, where it's got sweetness, it's got the grain flavor because again the new make hasn't touched the cask, so you get the grain taste coming through, a bit of citrus and a bit of sugar, like that kind of flavor,
vibe,
and that I think is working here. Before I go in for the taste on it, I'm gonna actually go in for the nose on the Madeira wine.
Okie dokes.
Again, it should be theoretically the same whiskey, just the casks are different.
Okay.
And immediately, I'm getting a very different difference. A very strong difference.
Oh, there is a difference. There's still sweetness, but it's like I want to say it attacked my nose in a different way.
Yeah, I'm getting less of like that core spirit flavor coming through.
Yeah.
And more maybe of that cask influence, because
I think this one really gets the name elegant. Yeah. It's like there's a waltz going on in my nose.
A waltz in her nose, yeah. It's definitely, I think a little bit more caramelly. A little bit more like, I get thick, to use that word. Oily. It has almost like honey, that heaviness to it.
Yeah.
I think that's because I think Madeira wine has got that kind of like, I think wine has been like left out in the sun, or like the cask left in the sun, so it's kind of concentrated, a bit heavier, a bit sweeter,
yeah,
a bit denser.
I'm getting that heavier, sweeter kind of influence in there.
Sitting with it a bit longer, I can get like I was saying with this one, I could get more of that core whiskey flavor, the core spirit.
Yeah.
I'm getting maybe a little bit more of that coming through here, but it's behind the cask influence, whereas here it was with the cask influence. Yeah.
I've got nothing else to add.
Okay, well then let's go in for the third one. And this one is all sherry, so there's no bourbon cask.
Okay.
It's oloroso and then PX for again about 2.5 years and about a year and a bit.
Okay, ready.
That's sherry. That's sherry.
You get it.
Yeah. I think
but they smell so different.
We described this one in the review of it as like a sherry bomb.
Sherry bomb.
Because it's a lot of sherry. You get like the kind of nuttiness, dried fruits of the oloroso. But you also get that almost like wrapper of syrupy sweetness with the PX sherry. And again, I think PX sherry and pot still work really well together.
Yeah.
Because pot still has the thick character to it.
You can say oily. You can say oily.
It also has like peppery spice. Has this nice kind of spicy character to it. So then that works well with the thickness and the sweetness you get with PX sherry.
Yeah.
You get that thickness, that oiliness, and you get that kind of syrupy nature that with it's not hiding the pot still spice, but it's working with it.
Oh yeah, it's a partnership.
Would you say it's decadent?
Yes.
It's decadent.
I would describe it as decadent.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go in for the taste on this one.
Oh, let's do it.
And I'm lazy.
Cheers.
Sláinte. Yeah.
Whoa.
It's a bit different. I'm getting more oak, more spice, more of that pot still nature.
Yeah.
I got sherry, thick, sweet, but then
I got thick with the sherry.
And then the pot still spice kind of just, as the flavor was like kind of spreading out, pot still came up.
Yeah.
Get that kind of, again, a little bit of like that newness, again, that youngness is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did say again, over time, the age of the whiskies going into these will evolve and will get older.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a little bit of that comes through, but again, that pot still spice comes through much more for me.
It was like a bath bomb.
A bath bomb, okay.
Where you've got
Story
the sherry. You've got the sherry on the outside, and then inside you've got the pot still. So you're in the bath, you're soaking, there's a lot of sherry, and then it's like, boom, pot still.
Yes, very much, I agree, totally.
That is the correct answer.
Yes. Before we taste the next one, I'm just going to go in for a quick little sip of water.
Okay. Thank you.
Clear out the palate, and while you're drinking that, I'm going to drink whiskey.
Ah!
Cheers. So this is the one in the Madeira casks.
The elegant one.
The elegant one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my.
Yeah, a little bit more, I don't want to say complex, but...
Oh my.
So it's very hard to go wrong with PX sherry and oloroso sherry, but they are, I don't want to say one note, but it is very much, it's always going to be like a very similar note.
So I call it sherry bomb.
Sherry bomb. This here, a little more complex, a little more fruity, a little more citrus, a little apple almost, like a green apple, that kind of like the tartness coming through.
Yeah.
That's kind of coming through here a bit for me. I'm going to go in for another sip.
Okay. I'm really liking this one.
Yeah.
There's like, when you talk about elegance, it's like a classical play or an opera of a whiskey.
But elegant doesn't necessarily mean gentle.
Oh no, it's not
no,
gentle.
It's not
like,
gentle, no.
There is a lot going on there.
Like, as I'm talking now, like on the finish of it, there's that pastel spice, the tingliness is there, a bit of almost like eating a bit of black pepper or something, and you get that kind of spicy tingle in your tongue.
Yeah.
That's there coming through. The cask influence is there. I wouldn't say there's a huge amount of the bourbon cask influence, more like that wine cask influence coming through. Yeah,
I'd say so too.
And again,
I almost want more of this later on. This is lovely.
And again, like that might change as the whiskies get a bit older, and let's say it goes 3 years in bourbon, and you know. So,
that's why you have to take notes.
Take notes.
Yeah, because what if you taste the difference as it goes along, and then you got feedback?
Yeah, and lastly, this one here, the beautiful one in the Marsala wine cask.
Alright, let's see if it's actually beautiful.
See if it's beautiful. Well, it looks nice.
Cheers. Oh, that's also very different taste. Oh, there was a nice little I was like drinking the whiskey. At the end, it was like ballet.
Yeah, for me, I don't really get the Marsala wine casks in the taste. It's actually coming through more into the finish.
Yeah.
So Marsala, it should give really nice, sweet, like one of your favorite whiskeys is from the Whistler range, which is produced by Boann.
Yeah.
It was a single grain in Marsala wine cask, and it has a lot of that Marsala lime, lemon, orange flavor.
Yeah.
Here I got a little bit more like the oaky character, then I got some of like the sweetness, the pot still was there, and as I took a breath after I tasted, then I got that bit of Marsala. Like there's not a huge amount of Marsala influence, I would say.
It tastes like spring.
Tastes like spring.
It tastes like spring to me.
Go on.
I've got nothing else to add.
Nothing else to add, just tastes like spring.
I do have a thought about all 3 of them together, but I'll save that.
Okay. Well, I think we've tasted all 3, so I think you can share.
Okay, cool. This is how I would describe all 3 whiskeys together, in probably a way that whiskey normally isn't described.
Okay.
This is the girlfriend. This is the wife. This is the mistress.
I think I get what you're saying.
Yes. The girlfriend, spring, it's new, you're in high school, it's lovely. The wife, she keeps it complex and interesting. This is a long-term one.
Definitely interesting.
Definitely interesting. This is the mistress. It's got that sherry bomb. Maybe it's like you try it, you sample it every here and there, none for you. But that's why that's the mistress.
Okay, can I have this one though? Can I have the whiskey?
You can have the whiskey, but not the mistress.
Okay, I think I know which one. So I think I know which one I like the least.
Okay, I know which one I like the most.
And I think I know which one I would almost recommend for people.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm gonna say for me, I'm gonna go my tasting notes first.
Okay.
I like this one probably the least right now. I think that I wish there was a bit more of that cask influence coming through.
Yes.
So for me, I thought it just felt a little bit young, a little bit incomplete. So hopefully the cask, I know casks can vary. I know that maybe the casks used in this batch maybe just didn't give as much flavour, but in future time they might.
Yeah.
I think of these 2, I think I preferred this one because I think it's very hard to go wrong with a PX sherry.
That is very true. PX is just very nice.
But I think this one had the most going for it.
Okay.
It had the most complexity. So I think if you're looking at buying one of these, it would be between these 2, and it'd be if you like that PX sherry, that flavour, go for this one. If maybe you could take PX or leave it.
Yeah.
Go for this one here because this one is nice. It has a bit more going for it. It has that cask influence still, and you can still taste the whiskey. Whereas it's really hard to go wrong with a PX sherry. But a PX sherry is that one note kind of flavor.
It is. It's the sherry bomb.
Yeah.
Sherry bomb, and which is lovely. But and you know what you're getting.
You know what
you're
gonna get.
Yeah.
So, what's your ranking?
Can you guess which one's my favorite?
The wife.
The wife. The wife is absolutely my favorite, followed by the girlfriend and then the mistress.
Is that just because it's wife, girlfriend, mistress? If this one was called The Girlfriend, would you?
Well, I called it what I
Okay.
called it.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I really like this one. I thought it was a nice, complex one, but it was still light, still very drinkable. I do think that this one is on the lighter side, but I tend to like lighter whiskeys.
Yeah.
And I do love a PX every now and then. PX is just like so reliable, but it's the sherry bomb, whereas like it's you know what you're getting with it, and it's very much that sherry note, versus I thought, even though like this one's lighter, there's a little bit more of a journey in here, and then this one is just fantastic.
Yeah, so I think if you're gonna, from both of us, if you're gonna get only one of them, get this one.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get two of them, get, depending on if you like something heavier or something lighter.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna get all three,
Get all three.
Get all three. So I think that's all there is to say about these. I hope that was helpful for you. I think we both enjoyed this one, so I think I'm gonna pick this glass up. We're probably gonna.
You better pick it up.
I think we're both gonna enjoy them all. I'll see you next time. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Bye bye.